Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I am so grateful that you are here. My name is Nikki and I channel messages from movies using tarot and oracle cards. And I'm excited and honored to be doing a reading for you today. For this video, we will be exploring 3 different films that involve psychic abilities. This is a pick-a-card reading, so there will be 3 different movies about psychic abilities for each different pile. I felt called to do this video because there is a massive awakening on the planet right now where a lot of people are honing in on their intuition, strengthening their psychic abilities, but also some instances where people aren't sure what they're experiencing is real, or they're just confused in nature about their psychic abilities. And there are a lot of films that are about a variety of psychic abilities that can provide a lot of really good information. So I thought it would be cool to channel some messages from some films about psychic abilities to see what your spirit guides, the angels, would like to relay to you at this time. So in the next part of the video, you will see 3 different piles. On the top of each pile is a different colored heart crystal. Meditate on the pile and the crystal that is speaking to you, and go to the timestamps that I provide down below to go directly to your reading from there. Also, a lot of the messages that come through are very general in nature, so if something does not resonate with you, don't try to force something that does not fit. Only take what resonates and leave what does not. Let's jump into the readings. Hello to everyone who chose pile number 1. You also chose the green heart crystal that was sitting on top of the pile. So with this, I'm already getting channeled messages about your heart chakra, but I am also hearing to walk away from something. I'm feeling an energy of feeling like you're in an environment where your vibration just doesn't match with other people, the energy of a job, wherever the environment is for you. It feels like there's a mismatch in energies, and Spirit is saying it's time to walk away for something, to follow your heart, what your heart is telling you, how you're feeling, because your feelings tell you the truth about your current situation. So that message pairs very nicely with your film, which is the 1996 movie Matilda, directed by Danny DeVito, starring Mara Wilson, Rhea Perlman, and Danny DeVito also stars in this film as well. The film follows young Matilda, who, from the very beginning of her journey of coming onto the earth, she is placed in a family that is very uncaring, very neglectful, and she has to learn to grow up at a very fast pace. She has to learn to care for herself. She's making herself breakfast, and she is left at home all day by herself. Her family does not care about her at all. So in the process of all of this, she develops the abilities to move things with her mind, which you could also say that that is telekinesis. So this very well could be a psychic ability that you have just learned that you have, or it could be a psychic ability of the strengthening of your mind, your intuition, the ability to manifest, or to really understand the law of attraction from a newfound perspective because of these psychic abilities that have been coming online for you. So let's see what your cards have to say. We have Joan of Arc, the Warrior of Light. I have a steel-like faith in myself. The angels armor me with conviction. And to be honest, Joan of Arc on this card looks kind of like what Matilda would look like, all grown up. Next we have Vajrayogini, the essence of all Buddhas. I have the power to make each moment sacred. Everything is material for my liberation. Birthing a new age, birthing new creations, dreaming a new world into being. Imrama, where are you being called to journey to? Pleiades, double mission, channeling and uplifting humanity. When I'm in alignment with the love of the universe, peace cannot be disrupted. When I lean on certainty and faith, I change my mind about the world I see. The last two cards are affirmation cards. I forgive myself. On the back it says, as I forgive myself, I leave behind all feelings of not being good enough, and I am free to love myself. And your last card is, I am flexible and flowing. And on the back it says, I am open to the new and changing. Every moment presents a wonderful new opportunity to become more of who I am. I flow with life easily and effortlessly. Okay, pile number one. So first and foremost, what I am picking up on is having grown up in an environment that was less than ideal, much like Matilda. Matilda lived in a family where she was neglected, ignored, her needs were not attended to, she was not nurtured, and these were things that she had to learn. So I'm picking up on an energy of having to grow up very fast and almost getting to this point, even in childhood, where there's this understanding that you were the one taking care of everyone and everything, or providing for yourself because there weren't adult figures, caretakers that were able to be there for you emotionally the way that you needed. And this is what I'm being drawn to with Joan of Arc, the Warrior of Light. So what I'm getting from this is, like, I'm drawn to the armor that she is wearing on the card. Having went through all these difficult experiences in her life, but at the same time understanding that those difficult experiences shaped who she is today. That having dealt with family members or relatives who were not there for the way that they should be, and dealing with a lot of ridicule, dealing with a lot of belittlement, dealing with having been ignored, neglect, trauma, having been talked down to. What happens in the film is that this really strengthens Matilda and it prepares her for the next part of her journey. Matilda is the ultimate warrior of light, and I'm being shown how she had to take on adult roles as a very young child. Her mom will leave in the morning and she says something like, "Fish sticks are in the fridge," and she just leaves Matilda, and Matilda's like, "Yeah, whatever," and she goes and she makes herself this really elaborate breakfast. Like, she's giving her that self-love that she's not receiving from her mom and her dad. And she is very intelligent and she reads every magazine in the house. I'm also picking up on some avid readers here. A thirst for knowledge, loving to learn, loving to absorb whatever knowledge that you can, researching things, and just wanting to learn more, knowing that we're never done learning, right? And in the film, Matilda goes on this little escapade to find more books because she's read every magazine in the house. And she finds out that she can get books from the library. So she walks herself to the library every day until the librarian's like, you can have your own library card to take home, and then you won't have to keep walking to the library every day. So she will fill up her wagon with books and take them home and enjoy, and just a vast world opens to her because of the knowledge that she is absorbing. So I'm picking up on a lot of learning, a lot of reading books. Also, a lot of you could have read a lot of books while being in an environment like Matilda was, to get your mind off of what was happening in reality, to escape, to go to other worlds, to learn about other characters and people and cultures, and just to escape into a story for the general love of literature and knowledge and learning. It's truly beautiful. And what it actually says on here is, "I have a still like faith in myself." And that is totally the essence that Matilda brings. She always has faith in herself, even when her parents have belittled her. Like, there are so many scenes where Danny DeVito and Rhea Perlman, like, their name in the film are Zinnia and Harry Wormwood. And he's always like, "I'm right, you're wrong. I'm big, you're little." And just constantly trying to tell Matilda that she is nothing, but she didn't let that get inside her. She had a still like faith that kept her going. And when she starts reading these books, she learns that there's more to the world. And she has this dream in her heart to go to school. So I'm also picking up on some energy of, for some of you, wanting to study abroad somewhere or study at a particular school for something, to learn more about something you're passionate about. But also at the same time, Spirit is saying that anything you want to do, you are capable of, as long as you believe it, because our beliefs really genuinely matter. So having a still like faith in yourself, just like Matilda does in this film, is what is going to propel you to the next level. All right? And the next part of the card says, "The angels armor me with conviction." Your spirit guides, they talk you up all the time. They are giving you good vibe energy messages through your ears, sending you angelic energy. They are wrapping their love around you. They are protecting you, shielding you. And Matilda, she is totally protected in this film. And I'm also being shown the scene where her father, Harry Wormwood, he was doing some illegal dealings with cars, selling cars. He was selling faulty cars to people. And these two cops, one of which is played by Paul Rubin. If you're familiar with Pee Wee Herman, he plays Pee Wee Herman as well. He plays one of the cops in the film, and they're staking out the house, and Matilda's already onto them while her dad is oblivious. And she manages to outsmart these two cops and keep them off of her father's trail to give him time to come to his senses, perhaps, because she still loves her family, even though they're not giving her the love that she deserves and needs and craves. She still helps them out in that way. So I'm also seeing maybe having covered for certain relatives or family members or friends and out of love with something. But I'm also seeing that there may be instances where this could be coming back to be exposed to the surface, to be healed with something. That could very well be a very specific message for some of you. I know that may not resonate for all of you, but there's definitely something here about covering up for someone for doing something. And the energy that's linked to that is lowering your vibration, is what I'm feeling, okay? So Spirit is saying to make sure to stay honest in everything that you do and not to be taken down for something someone else did, but also to remember at the same time that you are protected and your spirit guides, your angels are coming in to assist with whatever this is. All right. So wanting to study abroad with something, wanting to move forward, following your heart. I'm seeing the message from the beginning, needing to walk away from something to move in this direction, to have that still-like faith to move in the direction of your passions, your joys, what lights you up. All right? But also being that warrior of light. Because Matilda, because she was so strengthened from what she experienced with her mom and her dad, when she moves into the next part of her journey, she is well equipped and prepared to handle anything that comes her way. And you are too, okay? You are too. The next card is the Essence of All Buddhas. I have the power to make each moment sacred. Everything is material for my liberation. So yeah, Spirit is saying that everything on your journey, it has served a purpose. Even the darkest things that you may have gone through. Our souls choose what we experience when we come to Earth. So whatever you chose, as difficult as it was to help your soul's evolution. And if this is in regards to trauma that you've experienced with caretakers, mom and a dad, what they were doing was they were projecting on you. And that is their stuff. It is not your stuff. Because I'm also drawn to the bowl of blood that the Essence of All Buddhas is holding at the top of the card here. If you see, she's holding a bowl of blood. So I feel like part of your mission here is also to do some very powerful ancestral healing, and that is a psychic ability in itself, because not everyone comes here to do that. Only at specified times in one's journey do they come here to do that. So if you are in a very difficult part of that journey right now, just know that this too shall pass. All right? You are in the midst of it right now, feeling emotions, purging, letting go. I'm also hearing balancing masculine and feminine energy. There definitely is a rise of feminine energy in the collective right now. So you may also be experiencing upset stomach, because feminine energy, it likes to flow through the gut. And I just learned this recently. So if there's anything blocking the gut, then the energy can't flow in the way that it is meant to. So there could be a lot of wounded feminine energy being healed at this time, because I'm also drawn to Matilda and her dynamic with her mom. Her mom never understood her, and Matilda was looking for a family to love her, and she wasn't getting that from her mom. So there could be some wounding in the mother line to look at, but also knowing that whatever wounding took place, Spirit is saying that it was all part of your journey, and you came here to be a cycle breaker, which is also a psychic ability in itself, all right? In the second part of the card, it says, everything is material for my liberation. So what that means is everything around you is a resource to walk away for freedom, to move in the direction of your passion, to know that you can manifest your dream reality, that you can truly be free emotionally from the past by recognizing that it does not have power over you, knowing that creating in the present moment right now is the key. All right. So the next card here is birthing a new age, birthing new creations, dreaming a new world into being. And see how the gal on the card is dancing with her hands up? I'm actually being shown the scene when Matilda realizes that she has psychic abilities, and she actually has her hands up and she's dancing around her living room, and everything that she's moving with her mind is flying around her. She has come into her power. She knows that she can make things happen. She knows that she is extraordinary. She knows that she's intelligent. And just like the woman's dancing on the card, Matilda was doing that in the movie. She learned she could manifest her dream reality. And that is what she does. And Spirit is showing me that this is a very strong ability that you have, that you are learning that by letting go of your emotions, freeing, letting go of the past, walking away, following what your heart has in store for you, and truly recognizing your power. You creating a beautiful new reality for yourself, one that is more in tune with your soul and what it is that you want, okay? The next card says, Imrama, where are you being called to journey to? So your spirit guides have been hinting certain places for you to travel to, is what I'm seeing. Or this could also be a place for you to study at. Maybe you haven't figured out exactly where to go learn what it is you want to learn yet, or you have an idea and you just haven't taken that leap of faith yet. Spirit is saying to act on that. This is not a coincidence. So when you see a synchronicity of a place that your heart wants to travel to, that you want to go to, that you want to journey to, it is for a reason. So in the film Matilda, she has a dream to go to school. And she actually starts manifesting this when she's reading her books, because that opened up a whole new aspect of visualization. So I'm also seeing some of you have the ability to visualize what it is you want, and it manifests very quickly. So Matilda had this dream to journey to school, and she does manifest that. And if you look at the back of the card here, there's a building. Now, in the movie, the school that Matilda goes to, it's very dark in nature. Like, this is a place where there hasn't been light for a long time because it is being run by this woman called the Trunchbull. She's the principal, and she's just awful. She will throw kids around. She will put them in this contraption called the chokey. She doesn't like fun. She doesn't like light. She doesn't like anything joyful. Like, there's literally a scene where a little girl has pigtails, and the Trunchbull walks up to her and she says, "What are those?" And the little girl's like, "You mean my pigtails?" And she goes, "Yes, what are those atrocious things?" And the little girl's like, "Well, my mommy thinks they're sweet." And the Trunchbull's like, "Well, your mommy's a twit." And she like picks her up and throws her. And it, it just epitomizes this scene of how awful this woman has been to these children. And when Matilda comes into this place, it was actually for a purpose, because she actually starts to shift things around at this school. There's another scene where the Trunchbull has everybody congregate to this gymnasium or auditorium. She has everybody come into this auditorium and sit, and she is upset because this young boy had eaten a piece of her cake. And she has him sit down, and she gives him a piece of cake to eat, and she's like, "You're going to eat this cake." And he's like, "No, I'm okay, I don't want any, And she goes, "Eat it." And so he eats the cake, and he's like, "Yeah, this is pretty good." And she goes, "Okay, well, since you like that piece of cake, you're going to eat this entire cake." And she brings out this whole cake, and she forces this kid to eat this chocolate cake. And it gets to the point where he starts to get sick, and everyone's just kind of sitting there and like, "Man, he doesn't look too good, And Matilda is the light, the warrior of light. Matilda is the warrior of light here. She stands up and she says, "You can do it, Bruce. Finish it." And it was enough to propel him to finish that whole damn cake. He finished the cake, and the kids are cheering, and it was all because Matilda was strong enough to stand up and speak her truth in that moment, to shine light. And that was something that shook up that reality. So you're being called to go somewhere right now to share your light because you're a warrior. You're strong because of your past experiences. And it's this energy of not allowing yourself to be bullied and speaking up for those who are being bullied. There are going to be major changes that take place wherever you are being called to journey to right now. So trust what you are receiving. All right. Next card is Pleiades, double mission, channeling and uplifting humanity. So you very well could resonate with the star system Pleiades, and they do have a double mission to channel and uplift humanity. So this could be part of your mission here on Earth at this time. And if you see, there's a bunch of people on the card who are kind of floating up in the air. And what happens in the movie Matilda, once she goes to school, she starts making a lot of friends. And there's one sweet little girl that she befriends in the film. And on one day in particular, the Trunchbull comes to the classroom, and she is angry because she thinks that somebody had been to her house. So the Trunchbull also knows one of the teachers in the school, which is Miss Honey, who also is definitely a soulmate for Matilda. Miss Honey is nothing like the Trunchbull. She's caring, she's nurturing, she loves children. She actually has like all these fun things in her classroom, but she covers them up when she knows the Trunchbull is going to visit. And it turns out, you find out later in the film, that Miss Honey actually, the Trunchbull is her aunt. And her aunt took care of her once her father passed on. And Miss Honey and Matilda develop this very special relationship, and Matilda makes friends with some very sweet children in her class. So I'm seeing that as soon as you take a leap of faith and journey where you're being called to go, you will align with members of your soul tribe. People that are there to help you heal something, help send a message with something, help collaborate on something. And with them being lifted on the card, I'm still being shown that scene where when the Trunchbull came to the classroom after Miss Honey and Matilda had went to her house, because Miss Honey confides in Matilda, right? And she tells her how the Trunchbull was her aunt and how her father passed on. Magnus was her dad. And they go to Trunchbull's house, and she wants to get Lissy doll, which was a doll that she had kept in the Trunchbull's house when she was younger. And they couldn't find Lissy Doll on the first attempt, and they almost get caught by the Trunchbull. But the Trunchbull is so angry, she comes into the class the next day wanting to know who came to her house. She is adamant that a child was there. And Matilda's already in her power. She's like using her special abilities to help thwart any of the Trunchbull's advances, right? And the Trunchbull gets angry and she picks up this boy and she goes to throw him out the window. And Matilda opens the window once the Trunchbull throws him out the window, and she lets him fly. She makes him fly, and he flies back in and like lands on the Trunchbull's back, and it's a very funny scene. But also, one of Matilda's young friends is standing in this doorway, and the Trunchbull is like all like hazed and like dazed by what she just experienced, and she charges at Matilda's friend, and Matilda uses her powers to lift her friend up off the floor. So that's what I'm seeing, uplifting people, uplifting, encouraging people that are sent to help you on your journey, to align with you. So when you go where you are being called to journey to, you will uplift and encourage people, and they will do the same for you because these are your people. All right. The next message that I'm seeing is, when I'm in alignment with the love of the universe, peace cannot be disrupted. So Spirit is showing me, when you get in alignment with the love of the universe, the peace within you can never be disrupted. And this is what happens with Matilda in the film. She has this very profound experience at this school, and she loves Miss Honey. She's never had a teacher like Miss Honey, and her parents actually come to try to take her away, to leave, because the cops are on his tail for his faulty car dealings. And they come to pick Matilda up from Miss Honey's house, and Matilda's like, I don't want to go. I have the adoption papers. Miss Honey, adopt me. And in that moment, they all made this decision for Miss Honey to adopt young Matilda. And her parents are okay with it. Everyone's happy. And in that moment, Matilda became in alignment with her true dream reality. And she has so much fun with Miss Honey. Like, they rollerblade around the house, they hula hoop, they have tea parties in the garden, they read books at night. It's a very loving relationship, one that Matilda always deserved, that she wasn't getting from her family previously. So I'm seeing, wherever you're being called to journey to, your true home, your true family is waiting for you. They are manifesting you just as much as you are manifesting them. For those of you that resonates, all right? So getting in alignment will help you manifest whatever it is that you want that much quicker. When I lean on certainty and faith, I change my mind about the world I see. When I lean on certainty and faith, I change my mind about the world I see. When we look at the world through the lens of love, the world that we see literally changes. And this was the hope and the faith that Matilda kept holding on to in the film. She exuded so much joy for school and reading books. And when she starts reading books, this is when she starts to manifest her dream reality, because these books show her that there are other amazing things in the world to see and to experience. And she, at first, is in this energy of not knowing what was really out there, because she only knew that what she was experiencing with her family. And I'm also seeing a sibling dynamic. I'm seeing the scene where Matilda is walking out the door to go somewhere, and her brother's like, have another carrot, dip face, and he's throwing carrots, and she turns around and she stops the carrot that he's throwing at her, like right here in her face, and she turns it around and sends it back to him. So I'm also feeling an energy of, if you have taken on energy from family members, like recognizing it, stopping it in its tracks, and setting it back to its original source, knowing that this is no longer yours to carry. Not that it ever was to begin with, but a lot of light workers have taken on pain and trauma and emotions from their lineages, and it's time to recognize that this is not yours and to send that energy back where it belongs, okay? Because it is not yours. And this is also like having that perception of changing the world that you're seeing, changing the way that you view yourself and what you are capable of doing here, and having faith in yourself. Because that is like the main message here, having a still like faith in yourself and leaning on certainty and faith of the universe. All right. With I forgive myself, as I forgive myself, I leave behind all feelings of not being good enough, and I am free to love myself. So, for this particular message, I am not seeing any particular clips from the movie per se. So, this is a message that Spirit is adding in addition to the film. If you have been in an environment where you felt like you weren't good enough for certain people in your family or been in relationships, Spirit is saying it is time to let that go, to forgive yourself. Because when we hold on to feelings of not being good enough, we will never manifest the dream reality that we want. Dream realities come from unconditional love for ourselves and for others. So if there's any area that you have been feeling guilty about, or if someone has tried to make you feel guilty about something, forgiveness is what will heal this. And I'm here to tell you that forgiveness also shines light on the truth. Forgiving and compassion and kindness, it has a way of showing you what's real and what's not. Okay, so forgive yourself for anything that may still be coming up for yourself right now. All right, it's time to let it go. It's time to forgive yourself for anything that you may have done that made you feel like you weren't good enough, and also forgive yourself for not feeling like you weren't good enough, because those were lies that were told to you for other reasons from other people. All right. And your last card is I am flexible and flowing. I am open to the new and changing. Every moment presents a wonderful new opportunity to become more of who I am. I flow with life easily and effortlessly. So yeah, this is all about feminine energy, getting into the flow. All right. So when you are flexible and flowing with what comes up in your reality, when you are willing to release control and let circumstances be as they are while setting healthy boundaries for yourself, that is when true magic happens. Allowing yourself to be flexible and flowing to whatever comes into your reality, communicating what you will and will not put up with, your reality is going to change in a magnificent way. But also, all of these amazing opportunities are coming to the forefront for you right now, is what I can see. So whatever comes up, allow yourself to be open to it, because that very well could be the message of where you're being called to journey to. So any new opportunities to journey somewhere, Spirit is saying to evaluate that and be flexible and flowing, because you don't know where that journey is going to take you. And Matilda's journey is like that as well. And she actually epitomizes an amazing, flexible, flowing energy. Like she never gets upset, she never reacts. The only time that you really see her react is when her psychic abilities were activated and she's beginning to realize that it has to do with her emotions, and she's still trying to figure out how to fine tune them. So you might be trying to fine tune your psychic abilities right now as well. And I'm seeing that it's linked to emotions. So if there's anything that you need to allow yourself to feel that, because there's a scene in the film where her dad comes home and he's like yelling, and she's like, "Dad, yell at me." And he starts yelling at her and she goes, "Yell at me again." And then he starts like storming at her while yelling at her, and she shuts the door with her mind because he triggered that anger within her. She tapped into that anger emotion to learn more about her spiritual gifts. So your emotions will also help you learn what you want to learn in regards to any spiritual gifts that may be coming online for you right now. That is all that I am seeing, pile number one. Those are your messages. If your reading resonated, if you enjoyed it, please comment down below. Let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I will see you on the next one. Bye. Hello to everyone who chose pile number two. The heart crystal that was sitting on top of your pile was the black one. So what I'm feeling from the black heart crystal already is an energy of doing shadow work around certain relationships, recognizing how certain relationships make you feel, how the shadow work of around these relationships is very important, and how your psychic abilities have been helping to guide you through this shadow work, which pairs very nicely with your film, which is the 1996 movie The Frighteners, starring Michael J. Fox, Trini Alvarado, and Dee Wallace, directed by Peter Jackson. So, in this film, Michael J. Fox plays Frank Bannister, who is he's a psychic. He can communicate with spirits on the other side. However, he's in this place in his life where he doesn't really care much about people or anybody in his life, and he has these two spirit guides that help him to con other people, and he's not honest with his psychic abilities. And the energy that that creates, it leads him to this string of events where his psychic abilities get activated once he meets this one woman. Like a lot of other psychic abilities come online once he meets Lucy. And when I saw this film when I was younger, I thought that it was just, this fun little film about ghosts and psychic abilities and just a fun movie in the 90s to watch, like a thriller, a fun little thriller. Watching it this time, it's definitely a film about true love. And we will get more into that. Let's see what your cards have to say. Your first card is Shekinah, the presence of the divine feminine. At the center of everything, there is light, and I am that light. Mary Magdalene, the apostle to the apostles. I am the bridge between heaven and earth. I am fully human and fully divine. Deep replenishment, retreat, rest, be held. Star Mother, how can you mother yourself? Starseed, what lights you up? I honor how I want to feel. My happiness is a direct reflection of my level of faith in the universe. Your last two cards are affirmation cards. I am worth loving. And on the back it says, I do not have to earn love. I am lovable because I exist. Others reflect the love I have for myself. And your last card is, I accept my uniqueness. On the back it says, there is no competition and no comparison, for we are all different and meant to be that way. I am special and wonderful. I love myself. Also, pile number 2, before I jump into the reading here, sometimes spoilers are a part of the messages. So if you have not seen the film, just be mindful of that as we go through the reading here. So as I was saying, the movie The Frighteners is all about true love. It really shines a light on different dynamics of relationships. So I'm feeling an energy of wanting to embody more true love in your life, or wanting to find your true love in your life is an energy I'm picking up on here. And in order for that to take place with the black crystal that was on top of your pile, there's a lot of shadow work here to get to that place of attracting that love, removing all blocks. And this all starts with divine feminine energy. So the first card in your reading is the Shekinah, the presence of the divine feminine. At the center of everything, there is light, and I am that light. So in The Frighteners, Frank Bannister, played by Michael J. Fox, in the beginning of the film, he is conning people, and he is led to this family of two. It's this man and this woman that are married and living together. And Frank Bannister, he drives his car up on the road, and he makes the man who lives in this house very angry. And Frank Bannister doesn't like the guy, so he wants to con him. And he has his two spiritual ghost friends help him wreak havoc in their house. And before the spirit guides actually make an appearance in their home, you see this couple, Lucy and the man that she's with, they are in bed together, and you can see that she's laying in bed and he kind of kisses her arm, but you can feel the disconnect between them. You can feel that there is a lack of passion in this relationship. And this guy, he just seems to care about, his physical appearance and how he comes off to people. And he does project love on her, but it doesn't feel like an authentic love. It feels like it's forced. And this was when Frank came into this family's life. And what happens is the husband in this relationship, he actually dies, leaving Lucy a widow. And this is what causes Lucy and Frank to become closer. he starts actually communicating with the ghost of her passed on husband. And they're like sitting at dinner. I'm being shown the scenes where they're sitting at dinner, and he's communicating with the spirit of her dead husband, and she sits there and she says that she needs to know where certain money is from, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I gambled it away. I lost it all." And he goes, "Don't tell her that though." And Frank, he just kind of rolls his eye and he's like, "Yeah, he lost it all." He tells her the truth in the moment, because all of this was actually serving a higher purpose for Frank and Lucy to come together because of what happens next in the film. So the divine feminine came into the divine masculine's life in this film, and their mission together was ignited once they connected in the physical. So I'm also feeling an energy of connecting with your counterpart, whether this is a twin flame or a sacred soulmate, and all of the activations that will take place once you come into alignment with this true unconditional love energy. And they're actually having me jump to the end of the film here, because at the very end, after they went through everything that they go through together, she actually sees a ghost in a car. And she says to him, "You know, sometimes when you experience something traumatic, something is ignited within you." And her psychic abilities were activated because she was aligned with her true love counterpart, which was Michael J. Fox, his character Frank Bannister in this film. So I'm seeing a union of some sort with a sacred soulmate, a twin flame. And if you already have psychic abilities that are online, they will become even stronger once you align with whoever this person is. All right. Mary Magdalene, the apostle to the apostles. I am the bridge between heaven and earth. I am fully human and fully divine. So I'm channeling a lot of energy for some of you of having a psychic ability of helping people cross over to the other side. I'm actually seeing the scene where a portal does actually open up between heaven and earth. This card literally says, "I am the bridge between heaven and earth." And there is a portal that opens up in this film where Michael J. Fox is leading people, this very toxic couple. So what happens in the film, Dee Wallace plays Patricia, and Jake Busey plays her lover, Johnny Bartlett. You don't know that Patricia is actually one of the bad guys in the film until later. Johnny actually died, and what happened was they had engaged in this shooting at this hospital where they killed 12 people. And Frank, after the husband dies of the woman he is in love with, Lucy, he starts to see these numbers on people's heads. So also you may have an ability to know the meaning behind numbers, whether that's angel numbers or any number in general. However that resonates also could be very good with math or computing something. Those are definitely intuitive abilities as well. But he starts seeing these numbers on people's heads. And it's because this Johnny Bartlett guy has kind of taken on this Grim Reaper persona, and he has been stealing people's souls and like feeding off of them. He is dead doing this while his loved one, Patricia, is still alive in the physical, but she very much still communicates with him, and you learn that she is just as toxic as he is, and that she was the one who actually helped him in this hospital killing spree. And the number had left off at 12. But Frank starts seeing numbers of the next victims on their heads, and he's like, oh, what is with the numbers? So you may have the ability of knowing when someone is going to cross over and being a portal to help them cross over, to help them not be afraid. I'm literally seeing also there's also an energy of transmuting toxic energy, because at the very end of the film, when the portal opens up and Frank actually has an out-of-body experience so that he can see what has genuinely been going on, and he can help take down this dark spirit once and for all. Well, what he does is he grabs the soul of Patricia after she is killed, and he starts to take her up the portal to heaven. And once he gets all the way to the top, the toxic partner, Johnny Bartlett, he doesn't want to leave Patricia behind, so he follows after her, and he manages to get her away from Michael J. Fox's character, Frank. And they're like in the middle of this portal, and it just like turns very dark, and you know that they're not on their way to heaven in this moment. So you may also have the ability of purging very dark energies. I'm getting that also from the black crystal. You have an ability to transmute very dark energies, to send them back to the light, to send them back to the violet flame. All right? Being a go-between, that portal between physical earth and other dimensions, which is pretty cool. With deep replenishment, retreat, rest be held. Because you do this very energetic work, it is important to rest your energy when you need to, all right? And this is also type of work that I have dabbled in as well. I've noticed that since I've been strengthening my psychic abilities, sometimes it has a tendency to attract energies that I don't really prefer to be around me, but I can hear them very strongly, and I can also smell them. So when that happens, I just call upon the archangels, or I will do a clearing in the house with some very uplifting music, and I will ask them to leave, that they are not wanted, and to be transmuted back to the violet light. That is what has worked for me personally. There may be other ways that you know how to do this as well, but doing this type of work can be very draining. So it is important to rest when you need to, allow yourself to be held by the divine when you need to, and to just take that necessary rest and make sure that you're conserving your energy, but also at the same time not letting anything into your energetic field that should not be there, that you don't want in your field. All right. But also, there is something too about emotions. I'm actually being shown this scene in the film with Frank where he gets arrested. Like, everyone thinks that he is guilty and that he killed his wife, because in the beginning of the film, it shows like this little scene where he's an architect, and you find out that his wife died in a car crash, and he is living in all this guilt. So I am also picking up on feeling guilty about something for some of you. But because he was living in that emotion of guilt, what happens is Frank Bannister actually manifests this crazy dude who thinks he knows it all, and he he's like this police detective, and he's just like really kooky and like crazy. And he's like, I'll tell you the story of how Frank Bannister killed his wife and how he's killing all these people in this town. And he just like, he doesn't know anything. But what's just interesting is the metaphor that I get here is because Frank Bannister was still holding on to his guilt, he was manifesting this guy who was just basically affirming to him the reality he was creating in his mind, that he was responsible for his wife's death, that he was responsible for all the deaths of the people in this community. And like there's a scene where he's actually in this interrogation room and he's like shaking so bad while this guy is talking to him. Like you could see the trauma that was coming up from all the emotions that he had repressed. And when his divine feminine comes to the police station, she sees that he's laying down on this cot in his cell. And she sits next to him and she actually gets him to set up, and he actually has some tears coming down his face. And they hug each other. He allows himself to be embraced by his divine feminine. He allows himself to rest, to retreat, to be held in that moment, to feel what he needed to authentically feel so that he could let it go once and for all. So Lucy brought out the emotions and epitomized such true love for him that it woke him up. And this is when he starts taking action and he gets serious about taking on these dark forces in the film. A very strong sacred soulmate that came in to help Frank in his time of need. With Star Mother, How Can You Mother Yourself? This is an energy of, for some of you, of a wound in your mother line. And what I'm seeing in the film is Patricia, played by Dee Wallace. And in the very beginning, her mother is screaming at her and she's just saying awful things. Like, there is not a very healthy dynamic. So when you learn the truth about Patricia later in the film, you kind of understand why, because you can see the unhealthy relationship that she had with her mother. So if that is the case for you, if you've had difficult relations with a mother caretaker in your life, mother was absent, there's trauma here, wounding, Spirit is saying to remember that whatever they projected on you, that was because of their own wounding, and it's been passed on from many lineages. That does not make it okay, but what's important is for you to go within and remember that you can mother yourself. You can give yourself the love that was not given to you. So Spirit is saying, how can you mother yourself, reparent yourself, and get your power back from this mother figure who may have caused some experiences for you that were very hurtful. So calling your power back lovingly, while still at the same time understanding that she or whoever is representing this feminine energy in your mother line had this wounding within herself, and understanding that it has been a cycle on repeat, and that you can break the cycle by going within and reparenting yourself, loving yourself, nurturing yourself, loving yourself. All right. With Starseed, what lights you up? Spirit is saying, what brings you joy? So I'm feeling like there's been an energy of being in the shadow work for a long time and just feeling surrounded by darkness for some of you. And Spirit is saying, yes, the shadow work is necessary, but you don't have to stay there. Remember the joy of your life, what brings you passion, what brings you hope and inspiration and creativity, and to follow that. I am seeing that some of you would like to use your psychic abilities to ignite a passion in your life, and Spirit is saying go for it. If it puts a smile on your face, if it lights you up, then that is a yes, that is a green light to move forward. Because this film, in the beginning, it is very dark, and Frank is in this dark place. And once he meets this sacred soulmate, his whole world completely shifts. And I'm actually seeing the end of the film where they're having this nice picnic on a blanket because they've basically won over the dark forces that they were fighting in the film. And that is what lit them up. So I'm also seeing, like, for some of you, it lights you up to help shine a light on the dark. It helps light you up to help people heal from trauma because you know what it feels like to use your psychic abilities to help people cross over. If using your psychic abilities is what lights you up, I'm seeing for a lot of you, there's something very specific tied to it that will help you do so. Because our psychic abilities are not activated for no reason, but also at the same time, it's important to value them. Because I'm also seeing how Frank did not always value his gifts. He was using them to con people. He wasn't using them in an authentic way. And if we're not using our gifts in a humble, authentic way, they can be taken from us if we don't respect them, okay? Because they are not ours to keep. They were borrowed to us. And everybody does have psychic abilities, but they're not always activated. And because we have divine source energy within us, we're not really in control of when that happens. It's different for everybody, but we are not in control of the final say when it comes to those things. So, what lights you up? What's your creative passion? What is your joy? What is your inspiration? Move in that direction, all right? I honor how I want to feel. So, yeah, with this shadow work a lot of you are doing, it's bringing up a lot of emotions that you might not have allowed yourself to feel for a long time, or it could be many lifetimes for that matter, And whatever you feel when it comes up, it is important to honor that because our emotions, when we repress them or suppress them, they can stay trapped in the body and cause even worse pain to manifest inside the body because we're holding on to the pain. That's where a lot of medical issues come from. Repressed emotions, not allowing ourselves to feel. A lot of people have chosen to hold on to the pain and the suffering because they don't know the way of allowing themselves to feel their emotions. So I'm also feeling some of you are here to help people become emotionally free, to help them let go of the past, to help them cry and be vulnerable, because there is power in that. There is strength in vulnerability. But also, this is about mastering it for yourself too. So if you have been processing some difficult emotions, know that it's serving all a purpose so that you can help other people on your journey. So honor however you want to feel. My happiness is a direct reflection of my level of faith in the universe. So this movie has a lot of commentary on good and evil, and it's a really fun movie about spirit guides and psychic abilities, and also about staying in a dark place for a really long time. And that is what Frank is doing in the beginning of the film. He is not happy. And he says, like, multiple times in the film, he goes, I don't care about you. I don't care about anyone. And he just continues to use his psychic abilities for purposes that are for personal gain, not really being in service to other people or adding value to other people. But also at the same time, is because he didn't know what his true happiness was. He didn't really know what to have faith in. His wife was killed by this Grim Reaper dude, and he was blaming himself for that all of these years. And once this one person, this one woman comes into his life and brings out all these emotions in him, he becomes very empowered, and he starts to follow the path that does light him up. He wants to take his power back from the darkness, and he realizes that he is responsible for his happiness. He's responsible for creating his happiness. And that's what Spirit is getting through with this card here. Your happiness is a direct reflection of your level of faith in the universe. So Frank having that high level of faith after he allowed himself to feel what he needed to feel, it transitioned and shifted things in his favor, where he was shown exactly what he needed to be shown in order to take down the dark forces. And he held on to that faith, and it propelled him to be victorious by the end of the film. So Spirit wants you to know that you create your happiness, and having faith at this time with whatever it is you're going through is what is going to propel you to your victory. All right. The last two cards here are affirmations. We have, I am worth loving, and I don't have to earn love. I am lovable because I exist. Others reflect the love I have for myself. So, what Frank was epitomizing in the film was he didn't genuinely love himself, and he thought that he was an awful human being because he was being accused of having killed his wife, and they had actually gotten into an argument and got into a car wreck shortly before she was killed by this evil spirit. And from that moment on, he defined himself by that one moment. So Spirit is saying, what is that moment in your life where you've been holding on to guilt, you have beat yourself up and not genuinely exuded unconditional love for yourself, remembering that you are worth loving despite whatever you may have done in the past. The past is in the past, and it does not have any place in your present moment right now. Your past does not create your present moment or your future unless you allow it to. And the only way that you create it, your past, is by continuing to dwell there. So it's time to let go of what happened in the past and remember that you are worth loving for all that you are and you always have been. All right. Your last card is, I accept my uniqueness. There is no competition and no comparison, for we are all different and meant to be that way. I am special and wonderful. I love myself. So with I accept my uniqueness, I'm picking up on an energy of not fully trusting your psychic abilities, whatever those are for you. And what's important here, Spirit is saying to accept your uniqueness, to accept what has been given to you, to accept the guidance that you are receiving, to trust yourself. And I feel like a lot of you have a psychic ability that is very unique, and it will change the course of psychic abilities once you share it with the world. Because on the back, I'm being drawn to there is no competition and no comparison. So I'm also seeing comparing yourself to that of other people who have psychic abilities. But what is important to note here is that other people are not you, and how you are going to bring your message across into the world is unlike how anybody else does it. Now, if you watch a lot of tarot card readers, you'll notice that they're all very different. Yeah, they might all pull cards, but the way that they relay the messages, the types of messages, the little creative things that they do in addition, it varies from person to person. They're all unique. And however you want to communicate or express your spiritual gifts in the world is perfect for you. It's important to not compare yourself to others. How you are going to communicate the messages you receive is unique and special to you, and you're going to do wonderful. You're going to do great, okay? So don't compare yourself to that of other people, because you are unique, and the way that you're going to spread the message is unique to you. All right? That is all that I am seeing, pile number 2. Those are your messages. If your reading resonated, drop a comment down below and let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts, and I will see you on the next video. Bye. Hello to everyone who chose pile number 3. The heart crystal that was sitting on top of your pile was a crystal that had the color green and the color purple together. So for you, pile number 3, I am picking up on a lot of messages coming through your crown chakra, but also messages that are being communicated to you from your heart space, and your angels, your guides, really trying to put certain information in front of you. But I'm picking up on this taking place in the dream state. So pay attention to your dreams at this time, and your movie for this pile pairs very nicely with that message, because your film is the 1987 movie A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, Dream Warriors, directed by Wes Craven, starring Robert Englund, Patricia Arquette, and Heather Langenkamp. This film follows a young girl named Kristen, who, in the beginning of the film, she is creating this paper mache house out of newspaper clippings. So there's a lot of creativity that is going into what she's creating, but what she's creating is the house on Elm Street. And her mom comes home and says that it's time for her to go to bed. She's making too much racket with the music she's listening to. So she goes to sleep, and then she transitions into the dream world, where you see that she interacts with Freddy Krueger, who is this serial killer who has been invading all of these teenagers' dreams, because when he was alive, this group of their parents actually killed him to get him off the face of the earth. But what happened was he transitioned into something much more dark and sinister in the dream world. And to get revenge on these parents, he starts going after the children in their dreams. So I am a big fan of horror films. I have been since I was very young. And this is my absolute favorite Nightmare on Elm Street film in this series. So I'm super excited to channel messages from this. But the biggest message coming through is that of paying attention to your dreams. The title of the film is Dream Warriors. And Kristen in the film actually has the ability of calling people into her dreams. And when I was watching that take place during the film, I actually felt angelic energy come over me. I was like, whoa, there are people that can actually do that. So you very well could have the psychic ability of calling other souls into your dream to assist you or to hang out or whatever it is you're wanting to do to interact with them, which I think is so cool. I have never had that ability. If I do, it hasn't been revealed to me yet, so I think that is so awesome for those of you that are able to do that. But otherwise, you get a lot of messages in your dreams. Psychically, you might see visions of the future. You might see information in regards to healing. You may be shown the truth about certain people in your energetic field. That has happened to me as well. And it's a lot of very impactful information that comes through the astral realm in your dream. So pay attention, journal what you're dreaming for sure if you want to keep a recollection. And if you're only getting like one piece of the puzzle, it will come together eventually. All right. So let's see what your cards have to say here, pile number 3. First, we have Lolita, the red goddess. Playfulness is a spiritual power. Laughter leads me back to delight. Happiness is my birthright. Kuan Yin, the goddess of compassion. I recognize suffering in order to release it. Curiosity breeds compassion. Rabia, the queen of saintly women. I am in service of divine love. I move the way love asks me to move. Pillar of light. Your vibration is rising. You are the oracle. Awakening. Energetic upgrades, a new way of being. Integration. My outer experiences are a reflection of my internal condition. I am the loving energy of the universe. I am beautiful and everybody loves me. Oops. I radiate acceptance and I am deeply loved by others. Love surrounds me and protects me. Your last card is, I am safe, it's only change. On the back it says, I cross all bridges with joy and ease. The old unfolds into wonderful new experiences. My life gets better all the time. Okay, pile number 3, before we get started, I just want to say that sometimes spoilers come through the readings, so if you have not seen the film, please be mindful of that as we go through the reading. All right? So, getting started here with Lolita, the red goddess. Playfulness is a spiritual power. Laughter leads me back to the light. So, what I'm being shown from Dream Warriors is how in the beginning of the film, after Kristen has this terrible dream, she's actually attacked by Freddy in the film, and nobody believes her about what she's experiencing. And her mom believes that she is a harm to herself. her mom sends her to this hospital where she meets this other group of teenagers who are also having nightmares with Freddy Krueger in them. So, what is very interesting in the film, Kristen acts out because she's experiencing this high level of trauma. Nobody believes her. And there's this scene I'm being shown right now where she is in this hospital room and she's got a hospital gown on and she's throwing things around, she's screaming, she doesn't want to be there because the people are just, trying to feed her medicine and trying to get her to go to sleep. But she doesn't want to go to sleep because she doesn't want to dream these awful nightmares and potentially be killed by Fred Krueger. And what happens is she is fighting these orderlies and she holds up like this scalpel to try to keep them away, and she starts singing the Freddy Krueger song, and she's like, 5, 6, grab your crucifix, 7, 8, gonna stay up late, 9, 10, and then she has trouble trying to finish the song, and this is where Nancy Thompson from the first film makes an entrance, and she finishes the song for her. She says, never sleep again. And in that moment, you see Kristen's guard drop because somebody actually sees her. She understands her. And this is the energy I'm getting from Kuan Yin. I feel like Nancy Thompson is Kuan Yin that comes in with this compassion and understanding for this group of kids who aren't being believed, because in the first film, you know that Nancy Thompson already defeated Fred Krueger. So she understands what they're going through. So she comes in with this level of understanding that they're not used to. And they have these group therapy sessions, and Nancy brings a light to the group. She brings this essence of laughter, and she reminds them that they can do amazing things in their dreams. So I'm also picking up on this energy of lucid dreaming and like understanding that you are the master of your dreams, literally. Like, you may be having dreams right now where you know you're dreaming and you can control your dreams. I have had these as well, and it is super cool. But what happens is when they come into their power, they actually start smiling and laughing, and a lot of them joke around with each other. And this card literally says laughter or playfulness is a spiritual power. So if you are funny, if you have the gift of making people laugh, if you have the gift of spreading joy, that is a psychic ability. It may not feel like one, but it is, because not everybody has that gift to make people laugh. And the energy that exudes, like when you leave somebody better off than when you left them, like if you are talking to somebody who's, feeling down and out, and you get them to laugh before you have to part ways, you just shifted something in both of your realities. That is how powerful playfulness and laughter is. So I feel like a lot of you have this knack for helping people through mental health or helping people through really dark times, because these kids in this film, they didn't feel like anybody was understanding them. So there's also this very powerful spiritual gift that some of you have, to come in with compassion, to be curious, to not judge whoever you're working with on what they're going through. Being curious about what they're going through, asking questions, and letting them know that you understand, that you are there for them, but also embodying this playfulness, reminding people that it's important not to take things so seriously. That's what Nancy does in this film. Like, she is a total queen in this, and I love her character in this film so much. I also love her in the first one too, and I actually did get to meet Heather Langenkamp at a horror con, and that just made my day. I got her autograph and I got Tina's autograph as well. And both very cool women, and I'm grateful to have met them. But her character in the film is total one of compassion and genuine energy in this dark place where these kids, whereas they didn't have hope and they're having these awful nightmares, is just infused into the place with so much love. And it's one of the most beautiful parts of the film. Like, this movie is pretty dark in nature, and there's some pretty gory scenes in it as well, but also at the same time, it has some very important messages. Like, there's a lot of messages about dreams and trauma and understanding how you can master your dreams, and just, it's why it's my favorite, because it's fun too. Like, and you can tell that the crew of the people who worked on this film, they had so much fun with this. And I would have loved to be a part of this film. This would have been so cool. But that leads me to your next question, or your next card here, which is happiness is my birthright. So all the kids in this film, like, because they're being stalked by this guy named Freddy Krueger in their dreams, it was pretty hard for them to really find a place of happiness, right? So when Nancy comes in and she helps them see a different perspective, you start to see them take their power back, because in their dreams, they start infusing what truly makes them happy to try to defeat Fred Krueger. So, like, I'm being shown this scene with the kid who was the wizard master, and he actually, in the physical world, is in a wheelchair, and then in his dreams, he's like, he goes, I can walk. And he actually has like this ability to turn this light into a butterfly, which I'm actually drawn to the butterflies on this card with Lolita. So that was the moment when light was infused in this very dark place. And it was because one person came in and helped someone remember what truly made them happy. And that's when things started shifting. That's when Krueger started to lose his power, because he would feed on the souls of these children that he would take their lives in their dreams. But when Nancy comes in, because she understood what they went through, she was able to remind them of what truly made them happy. So you have this gift as well. You have this gift of helping people remember what makes them happy, and to pursue their passions, to pursue their genuine, authentic energy in a way unlike anybody else. And also, Spirit wants you to remember that happiness is your birthright too. So I'm seeing, because you work in this field where you deal with a lot of dark energy, where you may be helping people through trauma, mental health issues, whatever that looks like for you, your happiness is important as well. And it's important to make sure you're not absorbing or taking on the energy of the people that you're helping, like putting on, your armor, your shield for the day before you go to help. Because if you go into that without that spiritual protection, you can very easily absorb those emotions if you're not aware of how to do that. All right. So making sure that you're filling up your cup every morning before you go to serve other people, because I'm also feeling an energy of feeling very drained at the end of the day. So, give back the energy that is not yours, or let that energy go, transmute it back to the light. All right. Because absorbing it is not helping your energy, and then you wake up the next day feeling drained because you're still carrying emotions or energy that is not yours. So also cleansing, showers help to clear energy. Listening to meditative music, meditation, that will also help. But yeah, remembering that happiness is your birthright, and also for the people that you're helping as well. This is something you remind them of. With Rabia, the Queen of Saintly Women, I am in service of divine love. I move the way love asks me to move. So with this card, I'm getting a very interesting energy. I'm actually channeling Amanda Kruger, who plays Freddy Krueger's mother in this film. And she is actually a nun. And there is this doctor, Dr. Neil Gordon, who has been helping this group of teenagers. And when Nancy comes in, he actually believes in her so much that he wants to help her help these kids. So he does everything in his power to help in the way that he can. But he keeps seeing Amanda Kruger. She keeps showing herself to him. And there's actually this scene I'm being shown where they have this very spiritual conversation about religion. And Amanda Kruger, she asks him, she's like, "What do you believe in?" And he said, "I don't know, science, I suppose." And I I never picked up on that before. And I've seen this movie so many times. I never picked up on that conversation that he has with Amanda Kruger. And it's just so interesting to me because she is the one who gave birth to Fred Krueger, but yet here she is, this essence of love, serving God, wanting to do what is right. And because she knows the truth of her son, she's devoted her life to God. And she's shown up in this way to help this doctor serve his mission at this point in time, which was to help these kids. But at the same time, she helped him begin to believe in a power greater than himself, understanding that science does play a big part in spirituality, but how they both can't exist without the other. And she reignites a faith in him where he starts to believe. And the card says, "I am in service of divine love. I move the way love asks me to move." So it was like Amanda was being guided by God to help this doctor take down Fred Krueger once and for all. But he had to have faith, he had to believe. And to have given birth to someone who does such awful things, to still exude that love and to help other people help, break that cycle, that was very empowering on her part. And she shows up continuously in the film to help him do that in that way. So I'm also being shown having went through some very dark things, but also like using them for the highest good of all, using them to help the higher good. Because Amanda Kruger, what happened with her, I don't think it really says it so much in this film, but in other films it talks about how she was actually assaulted by a bunch of different men all at the same time. And she actually, that was how she got pregnant with Fred Krueger. So that was, I don't remember what film that took place in. I don't believe it was this one. But in this film, it's very apparent that she is his mother because it says her name on a headstone. It says Amanda Kruger. But she still was devoted to serving the light. She was devoted to taking down that darkness at all costs, despite the difficult things that she had gone through. So I am picking up on some traumatic experiences from the past for some of you, but how those are serving in your mission to help other people who have gone through similar things. Because how can we help people who have gone through something if we don't understand it in that way? You know what I mean? That's what I feel very strongly. I feel a lot of you went through some difficult things in order to help other people who have gone through the same. Because when your soul made this decision before you came to Earth, you knew that you could handle it, and you can, because you're doing it and you have done it. You're the light in this situation, but also bringing balance to the dark, because light and dark have to be balanced together. There can't be more one than the other, otherwise that's where things get out of balance karmically. The next card is Pillar of Light. Your vibration is rising. You are the Oracle. And I'm drawn to the gal on the back of the card there where there's this light shining. So yeah, there's definitely an ascension, a light coming through here. There's epiphanies coming here, messages in the dream state. I'm actually being drawn to Kristen's character played by Patricia Arquette in the film. And I'm seeing how she is doing all this tumbling, and she realizes she can like fight Fred Krueger as a be a match to him in the dream world without, being scared of him, knowing she can take her power back in that way, that he cannot control what she has come here to do. And she was actually the first one, once she has her nightmare and then she gets sent to this hospital, that's where things started to shift. She was the light that came in to help this group of kids because she also knew what they were going through. So I'm actually being shown the scene in the beginning when she's having a nightmare and she's actually like stuck in it's like a muddy substance. She's stuck. So I'm feeling like there's an energy of you feeling like you're stuck, but Spirit is saying, no, your vibration is actually raising. We are never stuck, okay? Like this card says, you are the Oracle. You are the one who is changing a very difficult circumstance in your life, in your lineage, in a current situation right now. Like all the answers that you need are within you. And when you tap into that, that will help you through any difficult situation that you have. But also, you're getting messages in your dreams about what it is you should do in terms of getting unstuck with something, or feeling like you're stuck with something. Okay? No, your vibration is raising and that stuck energy is dissipating. All right? So remember that you are the Oracle in this situation. Yeah. Awakening, energetic upgrades, a new way of being, integration. And she's literally sleeping on the card at night. So there's just so many messages about your dreams, and perhaps you are on the precipice of an awakening and you're getting downloads in your dreams about this. You may be getting prophetic dreams about your awakening and what you came here to do. And I just kind of want to tune in here for a moment because I feel there is, like, I'm seeing like a lot of like sound waves. I feel like a lot of you also have a gift of picking up on frequencies, things that other people can't hear. Like I'm being shown like like how dogs can hear a dog whistle when it's blown. Similar to that, there are different frequencies that are, you can attune on radios, and I'm being shown how you can hear different messages through sound waves, because I'm also being drawn, like in the very beginning of the film, Kristen is actually listening to a radio. She's listening to a song on the radio. So you could also channel messages from music, but you could also pick up on messages through different frequencies. So play around with that. There are some frequencies that definitely have a lower vibration than others, so just be mindful of what you're attuning to. But your spirit guides, I'm seeing, can communicate with you through specific frequencies. And I am actually picking up on, are there any, see any numbers on the cards here, but I don't know why I'm also hearing like 432 hertz. It might be 432 hertz, but yeah, playing with different frequencies, you may get some messages through radio frequencies, which is very, very cool. Your spirit guides may communicate with you through that way. So yeah, awakening happening, listening to your dreams, paying attention to them, writing them down, attuning to frequencies, tapping into those psychic abilities is definitely things that I all see taking place for you, which is very cool. The next card we have is my outer experiences are a reflection of my internal condition. Okay, so there is a common misconception when it comes to everything outside of us being a reflection. This card, when it says my outer reflection or my outer experiences are a reflection of my internal condition, that does not mean that other people are a reflection of you. What it means is you will get a reflection through other people in regards to how you are feeling on the inside. So for like example, if you are in the presence of Fred Krueger, he is not a reflection of who you are as a person, but he is a reflection of the fear that you may be feeling on the inside in regards to something. He very well could be a manifestation of that fear. So, and that's where spirit is going with this. In this film, all of these kids have these different fears, and it actually stemmed from their ancestral lineage because their parents are the ones that killed Fred Krueger, and then he started infiltrating their children's dreams. So Fred Krueger was a manifestation of all of their fears. He played on their fears. And I'm actually being shown Taryn right now from Dream Warriors, and she actually had a meth problem, an addiction problem. So I'm also seeing some energies of having addiction issues, letting go of an addiction of some sort, or dealing with somebody who can't let go of an addiction. And what I'm being shown specifically in the film with Taryn was she wanted to let go of this addiction. And there's actually a scene where one of the orderlies comes up to her after she gets out of the shower, and he's like, "Hey, I got the keys to heaven, baby." And she goes, "I don't do that shit anymore." And he goes, "Oh, you're gonna love this." And he just tries to taunt her and tempt her to tell her to come back to her, you know, old way of doing things. But in the physical world, she tells him no, and she says, "Don't do this anymore. I'm going to go to the other orderly, Max, who's played by Lawrence Fishburne in the film." And he just kind of laughs at her, and she goes on. Well, anyway, she has a dream later, and after she came into her power, she realized that she was bad and beautiful, and she has like this really cool outfit. She's got like a mohawk, and she fights Freddy because she's come into this knowledge of recognizing that she doesn't have to take his shit, that she can stand up to her fear. But then in the dream state, he actually pulls out these needles that have meth all over them, or meth in the needles. And because she hadn't fully healed the trauma within herself, she isn't strong enough in the moment of this dream to withstand what Fred Krueger is presenting to her. Whereas in the physical world, she was able to say, "No, I don't want that." But in the dream world, because it was her subconscious mind and there was still unhealed trauma there, she actually is not able to say no in the dream, and Freddy actually kills her in that scene. But this is epitomizing that card, that outer experiences are a reflection of internal condition. So she still had this unhealed energy within her that wasn't allowing her to fully remember her true power. If she had truly remembered that and had healed those fears, like she had a fear that she would succumb to going back to the addiction, and that was presented in the physical world where she, she did say no, but you still feel like this energy of that she's not so sure about it. And then in the dream world, you see that fear come to life, and she, in her dream state, manifested that experience with Fred Krueger. So Spirit wants you to remember that everything that's going on out here is reflecting how you feel on the inside. No, people are not reflecting to you that you are them. Like, obviously, if Fred Krueger's in front of you, I'm not Fred Krueger, right? He's not a reflection of me. No, he would just be a reflection of your subconscious fears. So once you have that awareness, you can take action to heal what you need to heal, all right? With I am beautiful and everybody loves me, and I am the loving I am the loving energy of the universe. I radiate acceptance, and I am deeply loved by others. Love surrounds me and protects me. So with these cards, I'm actually being shown Jennifer, who was one of the teenagers in the group, and she had aspirations to be a TV star, a movie star. But also at the same time, she doesn't really exude an energy of loving herself. And she's very strong in her conviction of wanting to be a TV star or an actress. And other people aren't taking her seriously. And she's like, just watch and see. I will be famous someday. And there's this one scene where she's sitting on this couch and she's watching TV and she's trying not to fall asleep. And Max comes in, which is an orderly, and he goes, you need to go to bed. She goes, no, please, please, I just want to stay up a little longer. I can't handle the nightmare. And he goes, okay, but I never saw you. And she sits there, and she proceeds to pull out this cigarette, and she resorts to burning herself with it. So I am picking up on some energy of self-harm. Take this as it resonates. I know that's a very particular and not an easy message coming through here, but if there is self-harm in any way, that will never manifest into the dreams and the reality that one would want for themselves. It's unconditional self-love. An energy of self-harm or even negative thoughts, because that's a form of self-harm too. Saying, I'm not good enough, I dislike myself, I'll never do this, I'll never do that. That is harming your energy. And if you are feeling that way on the inside, you will get a reflection of that on the outside here. Okay? So, self-love, changing those thoughts to more empowering ones. I love myself. I know this card says I am beautiful and everybody loves me. Like, you might like look at that and think, okay, well, that's narcissistic. No, it's not. Okay? Not in the sense of where the energy of this message is coming from. It is important to love yourself, because that is what helps you manifest the experiences that you want to have. Feeling that self-love, because that is also what Spirit is saying here. Your outer experiences are a reflection of your internal condition. All right? So self-harm in any sense of the word, if that is self-limiting beliefs, if it is actual self-harm, then those experiences will be reflected out here in some way. So in order to take your power back, remember the beautiful soul that you are, that you literally are the loving energy of the universe, because we are all connected. And we're getting to this point of one consciousness. And it's taking our power back by remembering that fear no longer can control us. And it's also about like befriending your fear too, looking upon any fears that you have in a way that makes them seem less scary. Because if you look upon them in that way, then you can accomplish anything. And that's like where fearlessness truly comes in. So this is a time to be gentle with yourself, honor yourself. Affirmations are truly powerful. I have done ones that I fall asleep listening to, and I will see an immediate shift the next day in my reality based off whatever one that I'm listening to. They have ones for self-love, they have ones for, manifesting your dream reality, manifesting whatever it is you want, like in terms of abundance and prosperity. Doing some ones in regards to self-love will help you manifest what you want. There is one caveat though. If you don't truly believe them, then it won't matter. One thing that I like to do is I will write out my affirmations on a piece of paper and I will say, I believe, and then ... whatever it is. I believe is so powerful because it's the belief that matters. Once you get clear on what your limiting beliefs are, you can flip them to the more empowering one. So like, for example, with Jennifer's situation, she believed that she was going to be a TV star. But at the same time, what happens is right after she had that little interaction with the cigarette, Fred Krueger shows up and basically kills her in that dream. So she manifested something awful based off of that fear. Now, yes, it's a movie and it's, not to be taken literally, but that's the metaphor that's coming through. She manifested something awful because she wasn't treating herself with love. All right. And the last message here we have is, I am safe. It's only change. I cross all bridges with joy and ease. The old unfolds into wonderful new experiences. My life gets better all the time. So where are you journeying to right now? Pile number 3, where are you going? Are you leaving something old behind? Are you nervous about traveling somewhere? Because I'm being drawn to the suitcases on the card here. What is changing in your life right now? Is this one of the biggest fears that you're experiencing? Maybe this is something you're being called to journey to, a place you're being called to journey to in your dreams. Like I'm seeing a lot of your spirit guides are pointing out certain places for you to go to. And if you act on your intuition, if you feel called to go somewhere and then you go there, you will align with other people who will have resources you need, will be, friends that you haven't met for many lifetimes, or will help you through a particular thing. Also, seeing the world, traveling, I'm picking up on a lot of that. You can have it all. And it's a matter of believing that you already do. And yeah, this whole movie is about, dream warriors. Spirit wants you to remember the dream warrior that you are and always have been. And if you want to manifest more travel, if you want to see the world, you can make that happen for yourself, all right? And maybe there is this big decision right now about moving somewhere or leaving something old behind, because on the back it says the old unfolds into wonderful new experiences. So sometimes we have to let go of the old to move into the dream state that we prefer. And you are a dream warrior. You can literally create anything that you want. So remember that as you move forward on your journey. Pile number 3. That is all that I am seeing. If your reading resonated, if you enjoyed it, please drop a comment down below and let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.